program On Target. And as usual, as soon as we start this program, you can pick up a telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything: politics, religion, socioeconomic issues, any issue trending, any topical issue of the day. We speak about it. And you have the power to give us a call. The number to call is 442-0175. We're on RealFM 91.9. We're on YouTube, Facebook page, and you can go to On Target page, and you will also find us there. It's always an interesting period in these talk shows because you have the opportunity to intervene, you have the opportunity to post, you have the opportunity to make calls. And we always encourage you to punch, don't waste time with preambles. And if you listen to us on the program and you find we are saying anything that is not the truth, interrupt us immediately. You could always challenge us about the truth. You see, over the years, I believe too much of us in Grenada have helped to say things on radio or propagate things on radio that is not the truth. And I don't agree with that. I don't think it is good for democracy. Political parties will always be trying to get the edge on one another. But journalists and radio personalities could help to preserve the democratic process. Many writers and political analysts and others have always worried about small countries' democratic process. Because you are dealing with multinational corporations and big businesses. I remember a couple of years ago, the trade union practically joined up with the government in Barbados to deal with the Arak cement plant. Some of these big businesses are multi-million dollars. So one of the powerful weapon or asset that we have is our vote. And your vote must never be taken lightly. From the two main political parties or three or whatever parties that run election, people campaign on the policies and philosophies of the party. They also look at the party history. So you find some people always align with a particular political party because they believe in that political party. And when individuals campaign on a political party bandwagon, on the manifesto, on the policies, and you go from house to house, people have certain confidence in you, and they vote for you in power. So that vote is practically sacrosanct. You're supposed to have great respect for the vote, and the people must get the vote. From 1983, when we had the return of democracy in 1984, our political process is relatively free and fair and well accepted in the Caribbean. Grenada's democratic process is well accepted in the Caribbean. Sometimes when a political party loses election, they cry foul because they lose. But the political process is well established. And that's one of the reasons within 24 hours of all election in Grenada from 1984, the party that lose conceded defeat and congratulated the party that win. Or even though they didn't congratulate, they conceded defeat. And there was no successful legal action against the election here. So it means that the process here is free and fair. So it must be of concern for all Grenadians if after election, people who run on a political party bandwagon on the principles, on the philosophy, on the history, on the belief, jump fence. Particularly if there is rumors on the ground that money and material things was involved. What it means is two rich persons could come in a small country like Grenada, Dominica, St. Vincent, these small countries, and dictate what government we have by constantly providing material things and financial reward for people who win election to jump fence. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong in an individual running with a political party and changing sides. But they must be able to give reasons and justification why they change sides. I disagree with the policy of this government, of my party. I disagree with the strategy. Based upon these information I have, I am convinced that I will have to change side. There must be some reasonable sense of satisfaction. You cannot jump fence. And speculation is running wild. You don't know if it is true or not. But when you're dealing with a government that says information is based upon need to know, and the Prime Minister of Grenada, Dickon Mitchell, was sold as a man with deep pockets and contacts, one must be concerned. You see, Eric Williams said 1 from 10 is not. 1 from 10 is not. Other Caribbean islands begged Eric Williams, let us go without Jamaica. Eric Williams said 1 from 10 is not. Eric Gary appealed to the other countries in the OECS. He said, let 8 of us go together. The little 8, he called it. Mr. Blaze in Grenada say, no damn likely. We go join unitary state with Trinidad and Tobago. And Mr. Blaze campaign on a policy, we go join Trinidad and we're going to get same pay with what Trinidadian getting. And you know Trinidad had oil. So we as ordinary rustics that don't have much power except we vote, we must see we vote as sacrosanct. And we must be concerned and we must express that concern. We must not be intimidated because obviously political parties going to make attempt to intimidate those who are opening up their mouth, opening up their big mouth. Political parties going to make attempt to intimidate them. Today, the Prime Minister of Grenada or the NDC government, in launching the independence celebration for 50 years, is starting on October 19th. Now that is significant. Blood was shed on that date. Blood was shed on that date. But the government used October 19th, the day the most blood was shed in Grenada after slavery and colonialism, to start independence celebration. That date is significant. The government evoked, or they tried to evoke, I don't know how successful they are, the spirit of Maurice Bishop. And then they decide to start the celebration on October 19. I think the purpose of October 19 is to water down, to dilute the significance that Eric Gary played in the independence of Grenada. That is the purpose. You started a date when the most murder was committed in Grenada after slavery and colonialism. You see, you have to be concerned. We have a government in Grenada, and one of the ministers, I can't remember which of one of them, you could call me and tell me, says that the Ministry of Housing, the housing department or what, must run as a business. Well, obviously, this minister does not understand that the United Nations take a stand to address extreme poverty. And governments have a financial obligation to address extreme poverty. And if we have a housing ministry in Grenada to help the people who are unable to face the financial institution in Grenada to get a house. They can't go in the bank don't want to see them. They can't go to the credit union don't want to see them. They cannot face financial institutions. So government come in with a financial obligation to help the poor of the poor, the wretched of the earth, to help them to have basic necessities like a shelter and a roof over the house. But here we have a government that come in, that take a policy position that the Ministry of Housing must operate like a business. And they're going to throw out individuals who cannot meet their obligation. And I know every member of the National Democratic Congress jumping up now because they say throw out. Before you challenge me, Google what eviction means. Google what eviction means. And let the people in the diaspora tell you how much Americans are evicted every day. Over 6,000 Americans are evicted from their apartment every day. America have 11% of the people living in utter poverty. Now the government doesn't understand that the United Nations take a policy that we must address extreme poverty, pipe-borne water for all. The government claim that the housing department must run as a business, and they are planning to evict people who are unable to pay their house. Well, some people go to the bank and build a house, $100,000, $200,000, $350,000. If your income is over $3,000 a month, it's easy for you to go to a financial institution and build a house. Some people cannot build a house for $10,000. The last straw houses in Grenada was in Gary days, in La Poterie. Gary passed in La Poterie this Sunday. He said no more straw house in Grenada. And he sent up truckload of material, I think from the Carifta cottages, to make the people don't have straw houses. Now when you evict these people, they will end up like squatters. Some of them will end up on the bayside in Subies again and put up shack and live. Now I say to people repeatedly, nothing is wrong with the National Democratic Congress. Depends on which side of the pendulum you live. The National Democratic Congress never have a history of seeking interest of the poor of the poor. This NDC is the purest form of NDC. They are vultures, a very insensitive bunch, a bunch that want to live lavishly. That's why I ask you to Google the butcher of the Congo. He wanted so much a lavish lifestyle that he was prepared to rip the skin off the back of Africans so he could live that lavish lifestyle. And his friends and the authorities then wanted to join him in that lavish lifestyle. It took the imperial powers in Europe to be shocked at his level of barbarism and complain to the government to restrain him. We must speak in Grenada. We must speak. Those of my brothers who used to walk around with morality and accountability around the neck as if he's a gallad, you need to open your voice. I always believe Mr. Blaise did injustice to Grenada. When he was threatened by Maurice Bishop, he went in Carriacou, sit down in a rocking chair, and rock till the Americans come. He never opened his mouth while Lloyd Noel and Kenny Lalsin and Kennedy Boudlal and Tillman Thomas was in jail. He never opened his mouth when Dr. Japal was in jail and they refused to give him even water to bathe. Kennedy Boudlal that intervened to provide this level of compassion for Dr. Japal. Mr. Blaise never opened his mouth. No, Mr. Blaise's mouth was powerful because Maurice Bishop did not want to anger the kayaks because the kayaks never liked Gary. And they got even more angry with him when he dropped the price of whiskey. So Grenadians started to wash their head with whiskey. The kayaks always involved in contraband. And they say Gary dropped the price of whiskey. So the fact that Mr. Blaise never opened his mouth, what he did is sanction the brutality and the atrocities committed by Maurice Bishop. If you forget what are they, I need to remind you. Maurice Bishop jailed 3,000 Grenadians without charge, without trial, or without an opportunity to defend themselves. And if you don't believe me, ask Tillman Thomas, the ex-prime minister. He was in jail too. When he visited them in jail, he asked them what they did. They said nothing. He said, Bishop, don't crazy. You all have to do something. Words to the effect. They said, go and ask Bishop. And then he come down in jail. They ask him what you do. He said nothing. They say, we tell you, you ain't do nothing. They claim he kind of slow. But you see, Ben Jones never opened his mouth. Ben Jones waved everybody. Little children, Pierre, he waved everybody. I had the opportunity to speak to Uncle Ben and ask him why. He tell me, they're going to fall just now, don't worry. There are people in our society that have weight, not like me. I'm an ordinary rustic of nondescript breed, so I have no weight. But there are people in our country that have weight, and they can intervene and inform the minister that government have a financial obligation to provide housing for the poor of the poor. And government, while you want them to pay, while you have to encourage them and insist they have to pay, you have to be tolerant with them. And you can't throw them out on the street because they lack the ability to pay. You see, the National Democratic Congress is a government that is not sensitive to the challenges and the needs of the poor of the poor. I heard the cry of the sister from Union. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. You seem as though we lost.
Listening to the, I don't believe the October 19th should correspond with the February 7 independence. I don't think that should happen.
Yes, this scholars, yes. Well, October 19, I always say when monkey writes his story, monkey always write. So this government is trying to piggyback on the popularity of Maurice Bishop. That is why they try to evoke his spirit. That was the Prime Minister was calling Bishop, we need you. But the Prime Minister have no intention, or the government, of understanding what was done to the Rastafarians when they were brought in the cow pen. Now the government say it was Hopeville. And a lot of Grenadians prefer to say Hopeville because they don't want to face the truth. But the Rastamen say it was the cow pen. Maurice Bishop sent the PRA up in the woods to collect the Rastas. And some Rasta run the fire gun. They claim, we always claim that Mackenzie was shot Mackenzie was an ex-policeman turned Rasta. They say he was shot. A Rasta say, I saw him running with blood on him. They never get his body. Maurice Bishop collected over 300 Rastas. What I don't understand, why they treated the Rastas so bad. It is in socialist and Marxist-Leninist country to have rehabilitation centers for people who do not support the philosophy and belief. China have rehabilitation center for the usual people. And Falun Gong is under serious challenge in China. And Christianity is worshipping underground. So one could have understand Maurice Bishop trying to rehabilitate Rastas based upon Marxist-Leninism. But why the cruelty to them? Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Yes, my caller, welcome.
Yes, I don't find that the 19th of October should be a holiday. The 25th of October should be a holiday. The Americans came and rescued us. And if the Americans did not come in to rescue us, a lot of us would have died. Right? A lot of us would have dead. They'd have killed a lot of us. Thank you.
Yes, well, you see, you have to understand the history in Grenada here. Maurice Bishop said the environment is not conducive for revolution, but we go make it. He said Gary start with fire, so we go start with fire. So they start to burn down schools and buildings. This government is using October 19. They're starting with bloodshed. They're starting to celebrate the 50 years of Grenada with bloodshed. Obviously, we refer to these individuals as individuals with not much institutional learning. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, first of all, I don't support the holiday, but I can't tell the government what to do, but I really don't support the holiday.
You are a little low.
Yes, I really don't support the holiday, but I can't tell the government what to do. I really don't support having 19th as a holiday. I don't see the sense of it at all. Secondly, Mr. Pierre, I heard the Minister of Housing said to a press conference that he didn't thought it was right to discuss the policy of the Housing Authority with the cabinet. That is the worst thing I think I could hear from a minister. He didn't thought it was right because he discussed it with the Prime Minister already. And he had parts of it that he discussed with them in Parliament already. So he didn't thought it was right to discuss it. Now what kind of ministers could think into? The cabinet is where you take your decisions, and the cabinet is supposed to have a conclusion of whatever they say and agree on. Whether you didn't agree as an individual, it automatically means that you agree. Cabinet. And for you to say that you didn't thought it was right to take it to the cabinet, a policy, that is going to govern the housing authority, something have to be wrong with how these fellows thinking. They're not thinking as people that really want to manage, want to come to manage the affairs. To me, every minister think that there's a law on their own. In the parliament, in the cabinet, every minister have a right to voice their opinion. So you can't say that you didn't think, if this wording in the first case is wrong, Mr. Pierre. The wording, you have an obligation to report to the cabinet and then to go to the parliament to make justification and laws and whatnot. So for you to say that, something has to wrong.
Yes, caller, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you see, I said to you, the government said information will be based upon a need to know, and Grenadians stayed extremely quiet. There should be an uproar like thunder when the government say that. Some of the so-called journalists that call themselves professional, I lost a lot of respect for them because they're not supposed to accept that. And we have a group of people that we consider have no respect for institutional knowledge. A group of old male exuberance. They're not youths again. United Nations put youths between 14 to 24. Grenada consider youth, the trade union and most organizations say a youth is 15 to 35. The NNP party, because of the Imani program, say youth is 15 to 39. So I will describe this group as old male exuberance. They're no longer youth, but they believe they are youth. They're arrogant, they're bitter, and they're practicing restorative justice. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre, I forgot to tell you that.
Yeah.
The journalists and them, to me, they are frightened of the Prime Minister. And I say that with no apology. The press secretary was begging them to ask questions. You know. I don't have more questions. I don't have questions. Don't be afraid to ask the questions.
Well, they could have asked some of the questions that we are asking them to ask.
Well, I don't understand. The journalist afraid.
Well, again, sometimes the government is powerful, you know, and the government could take out bread from them. Some of them children might be fed.
Well, I think
some of them children wouldn't get scholarship. You don't understand how.
I think you're all right.
When this government introduced,
I see journalists, Callister and Miss Maguire, and one other person that asked questions, and the journalist begging them, the press secretary begging them.
When I call you in tongue long, and you was there during the revolution, you know that the government could deny a lot of NNP children from getting scholarship.
Yeah,
you know that a lot of them won't get a job in the police force, in the teaching service, or in the public service.
But
you see the government is going after the money. So obviously some of them have to think about the financial obligation.
Well, we're going to a semicolon.
And you're going to see a number of people on radio start to be attacked by the government, hoping they could intimidate them. That is why I always encourage public officers.
Well, Mr. Pierre, we're going into a semi-communist.
We're not going to a semi-communist unless we want it to go. We deserve the government we have.
If the mouthpiece supposed to be the journalist.
You are a mouthpiece too.
Yes.
And you have a medium to express
yourself. But the journalist's voice could go louder than mine.
Remember what Malcolm X said. The fourth estate could make an innocent man guilty and a guilty man innocent.
Well, you don't have fourth estate again.
We are the fourth estate now.
Yeah, you don't have
we could speak with authority, and we have a social media. But you're going to see more and more attempt to try to silence people who are on the program. Thank you.
Definitely disappointed with the journalism.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you see, the government has introduced restorative justice. And a lot of people take lightly to that. The government decides information is based upon need to know. The government is hiding from the press, and the press is hiding from the government. And a number of individuals who used to be the biggest talkers on the radio, who talk about morality and accountability the most, they were speaking as if they had a gallard around their neck. Right now, they shut them up. They're gone in a cocoon. They're unable to speak. So you're going to see the government trying to go after individuals in talk show and others on the radio and social media to see if they could silence them. I don't think they will be able to. You're going to find more public officers who have walked the straight and narrow, or who have tried to walk the straight and narrow, speaking out. One day the union might even wake up. You had the union leader calling on government for the head of public officers that was NNP. A sad day for trade unionism in the country, where one of the union leaders showed no solidarity with the half-hearted attempt by the Public Workers Union to defend the women of Carriacou and the women of Paws and other people who lost their job up to 19 years. You see, the government is trying to silence the people in the diaspora by their galas. They're glad to take a picture with the minister. They're feeling good. And they're shutting them out. You know, all our communists is in America. And now they get a chance to show off their good clothes. Most of them have never had an opportunity to. Because sometimes when they reach in Grenada, they meet some women here with winter boots in the hot summer. While some of them want to walk without clothes, our Grenadian girls have winter boots in the hot summer. So they get a chance to show off their expensive clothes as the government is enchanted with gala. I think they have about 7 already. No questions is asked in gala. They eat, they drink, and they entertain. And they take picture and keep it there for the archives. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, welcome, caller.
You find the government know about the revolution?
Of course, the government know. They have a song, I like the Reverend, I like it bad. I can't remember who's singing. Somebody call me and tell me who sing that song.
Yeah, they don't know. If they know the revolution and they know independence, they don't have any revolution celebrating independence.
That is why they're doing it, caller. They want to dilute the significance of Gary role in Grenada.
Yeah, but
This caller, this thing is done purposely. It is planned. They are doing it to dilute the significance of Gary.
Gary was a man that didn't want independence. Gary needs to go.
Caller, that is why the NDC is doing that. They're doing it to dilute the significance. And if nobody complains, you'll shock to see who the hero is.
The minister and the prime minister was little children when independence and revolution was in Grenada. They don't know about it. So the person who's setting them up to do that, they're already yet. I'm telling you that. They don't ready yet. Because they don't know what go on in the revolution, neither what go on independence. This is that the bigger picture people should have teaching them and telling them what they're doing is not right. You can't put a revolution, independent. Gary fight for independence to be there today. And nobody didn't want it. And now the revolution, what go on in the revolution, Mr. Pierre? Every day others have to say that. Somebody have to dead for me now to survive, you know. You know that? Somebody have to dead. If I did something dead, I wouldn't have been here today. So I don't understand why they don't teach the people about the revolution. You can celebrate independence with the revolution. The revolution was crisis, Mr. Things were going in the revolution. You don't know if you're going to leave, if you're not dead. That cannot be. And Mr. Pierre, the housing, the minister, who put out the minister business when he nearly fall from? Nobody didn't put out the business. Why you have to go on press conference and put out the people business on the road? Huh? He find out something what he do there? He don't do nothing. You check it out?
Caller, you want to intimidate them and shame them. That is why. You don't understand. What the minister trying to do, intimidate and shame these people into submission.
Yeah, but who shame him? When he had him default farm, who did shame him?
Well,
Nobody didn't shame him. So what he doing there, he don't do nothing there. Sends the one sends the one name. That was going on there. And the housing in Monge, you have a lot of people. You have some people put in a set of dogs and set of old stove and fridge, and people cannot sleep. The minister look into that. Ministry of Health look into that. I would not stop cutting on the throat with that until I hear everybody say they get the plot, they get the part straight. And
Okay.
it's time for us to do that.
Thank you, caller.
All right.
You see, people have to study the NDC policy. If you don't study the NDC policy, you will always taking little pot shots at some aspects what they do. The NDC always have a policy that is hostile to low-income people. Now, this NDC is the purest form. So you're going to see it more glaring. Yes, caller, welcome.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Pierre, and,
Yes,
and
Colonel.
good evening to the listening public.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Pierre, I just want to revert a little bit concerning a video or
Go right
an
ahead.
interview.
Go right ahead.
Okay. I heard the Honorable Prime Minister was asked in a press conference, what day is that, about the CBI program. And if we are going to compensate people in the CBI program, people who came to be a part of the Kawana Bay initiative or investment, and we are going to compensate them because they came here under the CBI to invest in that program, and now you take back the property and you decide to pay them off. Mr. Pierre, this is morally wrong. So they come here as foreigners to invest in our country. They get our passport, our CBI passport, Citizen by Investment Program passport. They paid for the passport, and now you are telling me they came to invest in a project that you take over, and you are going to pay them off. So in other words, the CBI makes no sense in our country. So you're paying these people for for not having a passport, and the kind of money they are asking for is much more than the cost of the passport of Grenada citizenship. Now, Mr. Pierre, is this, according to Mr. Tillman Thomas, is this transparency and accountability to the taxpayers in this country? Mr. Pierre, this is morally wrong. And I am calling on the Prime Minister to do something better than that. His advisor, Richard Duncan, tell him do better than that. Don't be managing the bank. I know you are the chairman of the CBI program. Grenadians are watching, and it's time for us to step up and do something better than that. Mr. Pierre, I cannot take that any longer. Taxpayers' money is going down the road, and I cannot take it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Caller, prepare for worse. The Minister of Labor and the Attorney General, she said we're going to cause serious damage. We're going to cause irreparable damage to the economy. I expect worse. That is only the tip of the iceberg. This government in 2008, 2013 sold 13 pieces of property in Grenada to meet current expenditure. They even sold what was not theirs. And they sold shares that they did not have the legal authority to sell. If the government was an individual, they would have jailed them. The government behaved as people who own coke, that your family, your parents dead, and they selling the chairs and the bed in the house. They sell all the family pictures. That is the NDC. Punch color.
Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my
good
brother.
Afternoon, brother.
Yeah, my brother.
I hear you talk about the NDC sell property to pay for.
13 pieces of property.
Yes, I agree that.
Caller, let me tell you what they sold. They sold 13 pieces.
Listen to me. The past government, they gave away $21 million in Manhattan. The man take it, he goes free. That we money he give away there. That taxpayers money, $21 million. He take it and he goes free in Miami. You talk about giveaway. See, for the chicken, the farm in St. Mark, 51 million is in those penalties. Where is it? What can Mitchell do with it? What can Mitchell do with $51 million? What they invest in the shrimp farm? What happened to it, Mr. Pierre? Mr. Pierre, you're talking. What are you marketing about? Mr. Pierre, keep Mitchell and the NDC, NFP. They squander $15 million EC dollars in
Caller.
the body.
Caller.
No.
Caller.
They can get back the money.
Caller.
The government has paid back.
Caller,
Yes.
did you agree with the National Democratic Congress in 2008, 2013 when they sold 13 pieces
Yes,
of property?
I agree them. I
Well,
agree them.
well,
Because,
Colin- well,
because
Colin,
they don't
no
have
problem.
money and they sell property.
You
But
see,
the past government, they give it away.
Caller, that is
taking
why you
property.
see.
I mean, they take $21 million for a man in Manhattan. They give him that to go and spree in the name of building a hotel. And you come and tell me that? Yes,
right,
the
Colin.
NDC sell property to pay salary.
All
But
right,
they
Colin.
never give away the people's property. Though.
Thank you.
Never.
Thank you,
Never,
brother.
tell you.
You see, we have to expect worse because the National Democratic Congress, every time they come in power, every time they hostile against people from the lower income group. Black Wizards say, inside NDC's NNP, we have a number of people that NDC use for numerical purposes. Only for numerical purposes. They don't consider them, they don't like them. But when they campaigning, they use these people for numerical purposes. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, these people, they're blind, they can't see. They're talking about Manhattan, right? Manhattan.
You radio in the back, playing back, so you listen to the radio and you're distorting what you have to say.
Right. NDC government, they sell a whole wide range of things.
They sold 13 pieces of property.
I born.
And they sold what was not theirs.
Yeah. This St. David RC Church, that doctor place in St. David.
They sell it.
I born and meet that place. My father born and meet that place. Right? And they come and they sell that place. This is now, the minister, this is he gone. They sell that place to that person. So what that person talking about? The amount of thing that NDC government had sell, what they talking about?
Yeah. Yes, scholar. You see, people have to understand that the NDC is a good government for some people in Grenada. So when you hear you speak, there are some people who will always fight to defend the policy of NDC. For instance, some people want them to throw out the people in the houses for them to get the house. They want them to throw out the people in the houses so they could get the house. But government have a financial obligation to the poor and the wretched. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, scholar, welcome.
Pierre, it pained my heart to hear what the government is doing to the people in the housing project. I mean, if they
But are you surprised at the government?
No, I'm not surprised at them. But at the end of the day, I thought they would have learned because everybody moving up to...
I thought they would have been different too.
Yes, and I thought they would have done much better because,
I thought so
because
too, yeah.
they was crying down the NMP. So I said, all right then, they're a young bunch of people. So I thought they had things in place, they have bright ideas. But they haven't got no bright ideas because if you want to do that to these poor people who the Chinese come and build houses for them, the poor and the vulnerable, affordable houses for them. The last government put measure in place. The people had a job. No matter how minimal the job was, they had a job where they could buy food for the family and pay the rent. But this one come now and you want to throw them out. What about the people in America? They're American citizens, right? So when they haven't got have a job, they have a place to go where they could get accommodation or shelter accommodation.
Hot meals, shelters.
They could get hot meals, yes. They could get food stamp. In England, they have the same. You are English citizen. You go. There is things put in place to help the poor and the vulnerable. When you go to them, you tell them your problem. They will help you. They give you something. They give you money to buy food, and they pay your rent. So, aren't we Grenadian citizens? And this government responsible for us? So, if the government is responsible for us, why is it trying to throw these citizens outside? You make them more poor. You come like when you're in Nigeria, you see all these people, little shack all over the place, all under that tree. That's what you want to do to his citizens. Didn't they come for better? Didn't the young people looking up to them and saying, yes, they get a better government than the NMP? Didn't they all voted for them? So why are they turning around and do that to the people? Is that right? That is not right in my book. The people, they have a problem, put up specially people, statutory body, that the people, they can come to the people, listen to the problem, ask them why isn't they paying the rent. They should, and meet their need. The government is supposed to meet their need. And the government meeting their need, didn't they realize when they come in there, they wasn't getting enough money? The money they was getting as a minister wasn't much. So what did they do? They take a bigger cut. They take a bigger cut. So therefore now, let them remember the poor and the vulnerable. The poor is always with us. And if the poor is the one, the poor people is the one that putting them there. My God, I hope something could be done. Bye-bye, Mr. Pierre.
Well, what we're doing there is good. We have to do more to educate people. And people deserve the government they have. People vote for the National Democratic Congress, who every time they go in power, they lie. They lie for the e-money. They lie for the elderly people. In 1990, the NDC fired the workers on the estate. The unions were so weak at that time. The Grenada Maritime Mental Workers Union, they were so weak at that time. They wasn't even able to pay TUC so they could attend the general meeting. They just fire these poor people and them. They go home with tears in their eyes. The owners of estates saw it as opportunity to fire some of the weak workers. They fired Shati in 1990. Used to be in Grenville crime during that period. One of the companies employed him, and he sang a song in tribute to the company that employed him. Yes, Scholar, welcome, Punch. Yes, Scholar, Punch.
Them people in the houses not to pay. They were always saying, you're telling people not to pay the money. Mr. Pierre, I have a brother who have a house only. If the people and them decide they don't pay, and they don't pay, we don't pay, I don't pay anything, I pay half already, you pay half already. You don't pay too, so I need to be careful what I'm saying. To go around and tell people not to pay for the house, that's wickedness.
Call the NDC that was doing that, not nobody else.
NMP, I really don't need to know. I just say a woman can't tell that is stupidness there. About
okay, thank you, caller.
They have an agreement. What are you talking about?
Thank you, caller. You see, the government of Grenada is not a private company. It doesn't go in the thick head of the Minister of Housing yet. Perhaps the Minister of Agriculture have to call him lunatic and idiot. The United Nations, Grenada had signed the United Nations Charter to provide pipe-borne water for people. And Grenada have a financial obligation to the poor and the wretched. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, sorry to come back again.
Yes, come back.
The thing about it, there is no NMP going around telling them not
well,
to
that is not
even
true.
During
but
the time of the referendum, the NDC was out there telling them to vote no to everything. The minister was out there. The minister to be was out there. On the beach, telling the people vote no.
All in Broad Grove, the minister
so the people was confused.
Yeah.
Vote no for the passport. Vote no for everything, right? So the people get so confused. So right now the people are confused. He turning things around.
Yeah, the only party that plan lies is the National Democratic Congress.
Yes, they are the ones who was
doing it. That is the only party in Grenada that is going a house, a lab, and plan lies.
And telling lies. And fooling the people and them. And they well fool them this time and they laugh. Anyway, Mr. Pierre,
thank you. Some of the members of the National Democratic Congress believe that lies. Punch, caller. Yes, caller, Punch.
Mr. Pierre,
yes,
good afternoon.
Yes, caller, good afternoon.
I want to know why you are keep allowing that man to be disrupting that program over and over and over and over. Because you
let me tell you why.
Let
me tell you why. My program, you could call my program. You could call my program. Yeah, go ahead.
But Mr. Pierre.
Yeah.
My thing is, you have already given him a chance to speak, and he keep calling back. Now there are other people who would like the opportunity to speak, but he's standing in their way. So my thing is, give him a chance. We all know what he's doing from since the program is there. It's time to give him a limited time. He could call, but give him a limited time.
All right, caller. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. You see, the National Democratic Congress plan lies. And they fed these lies to people. And people believe the lies. And people vote them in power. We at this time cannot be afraid to listen to the lies. You have to be able to say, no, what you're saying is not true. You're going to see a number of the propaganda and lies against radio personalities. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes.
Yes, caller, welcome.
This caller handbook, it's a short time and this caller handbook in time. Whatever what I'm saying is that it's not the NMP we're going to vote and say the same to people do. And they was in power at the time. The Congress was going around and saying that about what he.
Yeah, it was the Congress that was discouraging people from paying.
Yes, it's because they were discouraging it.
Now they want to switch it.
I can understand. This man needs a limited amount of time on the radio, man. He has broken time.
You see, the National Democratic Congress sit down and plan lies. And people have to understand that. And when you hear the National Democratic Congress speak, they must be back in the lab again, you know. Because you have a few radio personalities asking questions. Mosquito Man, Sheldon Douglas, Sheldon Scott, the sister on the radio, Simon Says, a number of people asking questions. And as a result of that, they believe they have some of the journalists in their pocket. So you're going to see them making a lot of propaganda after those individuals. Maurice Bishop said, if you say they say, you're locking up the. If you say they say, you're locking up the. There was a Calypsonian that sung the song, I like the revel and I like it bad. Anybody who know that Calypsonian, please tell me, I can't remember his name. Maurice Bishop and them during the time when they used to give the United Nations milk. After 1979, they call it Pierre milk. And I listen to a number of people in the 40s now, saying it's the revolution that introduced that milk. That's why I tell you, are careful with history. Yes, caller, welcome. And caller, you're the last caller, so punch.
Yes, Mr. Pierre.
Yeah.
Tell your people then that calling are listening every day. Tell them people what you're calling. That program, like anybody could call on you. That is part of the program. Don't say nobody shouldn't call and nobody shouldn't call. You have to educate them about that.
Yes, I'm always telling them that I encourage people to call.
Exactly, that's part of the program.
Yeah.
Tell them that. That's part of the program. They're disrespecting you.
Yeah, well, you see.
All right, okay.
Yeah, I always encourage people. This program is slightly different from other programs because I will stop in the middle of a sentence and take your call. And I want to provoke discussion. So I make some statements here to provoke discussion. When I speak about number 10, it's a serious issue. Our democracy could be threatened if you could buy a politician. When I come here and I hear the Minister of Housing speak, I see the Minister of Housing with contempt because government have a financial obligation to the poor. And when you're telling me this thing have to run as a business, your real intention is to justify evicting the people who cannot pay. You want to throw them out on the street. The National Democratic Congress is too insensitive. They're too detached. They're too hostile towards the poor people. What wrong did the elderly did the National Democratic Congress to remove $150 from their income? What wrong The disadvantaged children did the National Democratic Congress to remove $75 from them. What wrong did the sister from Union that said she had Parkinson's disease, what wrong did they do you? What wrong did the sister from Telescope, the girl who walked the street with a white cane, what wrong did they do to the NDC? The NDC is flying all over the world. They're bringing their boyfriend with them when they go away. Nobody taking issue with you. You're in power now. But you want to evict the poor of the poor. You want them on the street. And 50 years after independence, Eric Gary gave the people in La Poterie, the people with the last straw house in Grenada, he gave them houses free. The NDC perhaps want to see Grenadians live in straw house again. Because we have 9 children of labor. You all are qualified to be vultures. And I see you all with only contempt. Not because you have master's degree and PhD. You had an opportunity that some of our brothers in jail don't have, did not have. You got an opportunity to go to school. You did well, you go to university. But you're supposed to come back in the society and raise the bar on the block. You don't come and behave like Tilaita Data just because she have a master's. I see her in town the other day, meet her in one of them big supermarket. Yeah, you only running your mouth on me. Thank you, and we're back with you again tomorrow between 12 and 1. Thank you.